Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, it's Vanity Azul back in the Carpe Vanguard deck profile. So we have Joe Tech comes in this story. This time we are covering DZ set 2 Solrairon. So Solrairon is Gandiva's counterpart, except Gandiva was busted, while Solrairon, to my knowledge, only became quote-unquote busted in the anime because it was every deck every player ever used. If you don't believe me, go watch it. Almost every side character upon Solrairon's release played Solrairon for whatever reason that was, even though there was like thousands of other decks they could have been playing. But anyways, Solrairon is one of those decks where I did not like it originally, and then slowly but surely I became to like it a little bit more, and I cannot play it properly for the life of me. I know how to play it properly, I just fuck up in the moment. So let's go ahead and get the start shot and see what we got, because this deck has a lot of fun plays. I just never play them successfully, and the worst part is like one of those things like you know you fucked up and like immediately after you fuck up and it's too late to take it back. So let's get this started, shall we, and I relive all of my horrible memories of me screwing up with Solrairon. Anyways, energy generator, so it's a ride deck crest. You might want to ride deck crest in your ride deck. It's the new card every deck is getting now. Auto ride deck, when you ride, put this crest into your energies, put this card into your crest zone, and if you win second, energy charge 3, now I'm calling it the energy zone. Continuous, you may have to 10 energies, and auto beginning red phase, energy charge 3, and then act once per turn, so energy about 7 to draw a card. All around pretty solid, because every turn you're getting 3 free energy, and none of the deck actually uses energy, like, at all, so you're pretty much free to just spam energy blast 7 whenever you want to get free hand cards, which is nice, and, you know, you get 3 every turn. Like, that's all I can really say. If you want to tech energy supporters, you can over one very specific card we'll get to later, but, you know, if you don't want to, fair enough, it's just a free draw, it's a free draw. Then we move on to our, normal units. First up, we have our starter, Sage of Horoscope Solrairon. Grade 0 boost, 5k shield, 6k base, auto point for second draw card, standard starter, and spot, just a free draw if you go second. None of the ride line requires him, but he is nice to have, and he just looks so cute with his, like, his staff and his hair, and I think he just looks cool. So, one of Solrairon on the ride deck. Then we have our triggers. We're going to over trigger True Arbitrator Dragon of 100 Swords Duravaso. Grade 0 boost, 50 shield, 5k power, over trigger in your deck, and as a trigger with that card, draw a card, choose one of your units, it gets plus 1 for the turn, and if you ability to drive check during your drive check, activate its adjust effect, which you get until end of turn. You also perform drive checks for the battle as your rear guards attack. Cool. You apply pressure out the wazoo, you get more drive checks for your rear guard. It's honestly pretty good. Honestly, for me personally, it would be better to run Volna, because I keep messing up the deck's play, because the deck can get 5 attacks in a turn, but I always mess it up. For me, it would be best to run Volna, because I always mess it up, it acts as like a safety net in case I do, but Duravaso is technically smarter over Volna, because the deck can consistently get 5 attacks a turn. So Duravaso is nice to have. You can also run Albari for more numbers, but the deck already gets enough numbers as is, so one of Duravaso for drive check pressure. Then we run our normal triggers. We run 2 copies of both Protection Magic Proby and Bard of Heavenly Song Alpac, even though I swear I see these more often than I see my crits. But anyways, Proby and Alpac both share the same skill. They are continuous guard circles. If your opponent's vanguards are grade 3 or greater, they get plus 5k shield. They both have 4k power and are front and draw trigger respectively, with 5k shield and 15k shield also respectively. So I'm pretty solid. Proby's here to help increase the hand cards with extra 10k shield, and Alpac's here to increase the power of the front row further with also an extra 5k shield for a total of 20. So all around, they're both pretty solid. When I was building the deck, I didn't know which trigger I wanted to put at 4 copies. So I was like, or 3 copies 4 because I already ran 7 crits. So I was like, let's just run both, because that's what everyone did in the Will Dress season, and it worked out for them. So yeah, 2 of Proby, 2 of Alpac. They're both good cards. I like them, and yeah, that's why they're here. Then move on to our crits. We run 3 copies of White Fang, which Disma grades of boost, 50k shield, 5k power. This can really be any crit you want. I just chose to make it Disma because I haven't seen her in a while, because I haven't played Hex in a while. But Disma's pretty nice for pressure. I mean, like, the deck stacks enough to the point where you're most likely going to see a crit, and when you're already giving 5k to your board like Solrairon, you're definitely going to want more crit pressure with Disma, so there she is. Then we have 4 Blade Feather Dragon, grades of boost, 50k shield, 4k power, critical trigger, auto rear guard, amount of booster, put in soul, choose one unit, 62k for the turn. All around is pretty solid, because worst comes to worst, you send it to soul, and something gets 2k, and the reason why that's important is because the deck can run into a soul problem if you don't play it properly. You can't see it, but I'm pointing to myself. So yeah, Blade Feather can kind of get you out of situations where you stupidly make bad decisions, or when you're me. So 7 crits in total for pressure. Then we run 4 heals and circling sorcerers, grades of boost, 50k shield, 5k power. Standard heal about it is just a free heal. I like Circling Sorceress. That's why she's here. Also because, like how I saw Gandiva as Eugene V2 Electric Boogaloo, I see Solrairon as Hex Orb V2 Electric Boogaloo, except in that same set, Hex Orb got a freaking evolution, but who didn't get an evolution again? Alright, Eugene, but you know what, whatever. Either way, though, Circling Sorceress is a nice heal. You can run any heal you want. You can even run the counter heals, but personally, I don't like them too much because I feel like they're too situational, being fluctuating 10 to 25k guards. I would much rather have a consistent 15k shield, but that's up to you, so 4 of Circling. Then we move on to our grade 1s. We run 3 copies of Divine Sister, Dracocoy. She's one of those cards where I will actively forget to use even though she is actively on my board. Like, there is a card in almost, well, not every deck, but like a handful of decks, like Magnolia and Gold to Goat, which is why I don't run Gold to Goat and Magnolia, simply because it's completely forgettable for me. But there are like a handful of decks where I have a card in there that I run that's really good, but I legitimately forget to use its skill regardless of where it is, simply because I forget that it's on the board. Anyways, Dracocoy is one of those cards, so Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, AK base, auto rear guard once per turn. When your other unit is placed by your card's ability, it doesn't even have to be in the same column. Counterblast 1 to draw a card. Maybe that's why I just don't remember it, because I always have like extra CB, but like the turn I place it, I don't have extra CB. But then if it was placed by your Vanguard's ability with Solrairon its card name, that placed unit also gets plus 5,000 power to end of turn. All around pretty solid, because in a deck that can multi-attack by calling from the top cards of the deck, pretty solid to get extra 5k, especially if worst comes to worst, you call triggers. Weirdly enough, that was the one time I remember to use her skill when I had to call a trigger. But Draco Ace is nice. She gets you hand cards, and she gives the unit called 5k, which all around is important because most of the, well, at least half the time, you're going to be calling something from Solarian's skill and getting more multi-attack out of it with getting more numbers both from Solarian's skill and this thing's skill is all around pretty solid. I just actively forget to use her because the turn I play her, I don't have extra CB to spare, either because I mess something up or because I actively don't have CB to spare. And then the turns where I actually can use her skill, I actively forget that she is there because she didn't do anything the previous turn. 3 of her. She's not a bad grade 1. I'm just not a good enough player to use her. But she is nice. She helps increase hand cards, and she gets power. This whole deck can be summed up as it knows what it's doing. It's just being piloted by someone that doesn't know what they're doing. I'll move on to our next grade 1. 4 copies of the thing that fixes all of my problems, more or less, and makes this deck work even for me. Academic of Endeavoring F-All. F4 copies. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, AK base. I don't know why, but his art looks so cool to me. Auto when placed on rear guard circle. We have a grade 3 grade Vanguard Solar in his card name. For the record, this works when placed during the battle phase as well, and it doesn't have to be placed from hand, just making that clear, so we have more multi-attack consistently. Counterblast will only top 5 cards of your deck to 2 grade 3 or less unit cards from among them. Come to rear guard circle, shuffle the deck, and if you call 2 cards, you carve from hand to reveal it, put it top of the deck if it's a normal unit, and discard it if it's not. So the important part to talk about is this. If Solrairon flips this and you call it, you get a booster, which Solrairon normally couldn't do before, and on top, or at least not without outside support cards, but then on top of that, you also get 2 more attackers, all from just using 2 CB. F-All is effing amazing. Yes, I chose to say it like that for a reason. It's just a good grade 1, like, extra rear guards only for like the discard of a hand card. And the thing is, you only have to lose a hand card if you call 2. If you just call 1, you don't lose anything. 4 of F-All. It's just amazing, and I can't even mess this up, and that's saying something. So 4 of him, just good grade 1. Then we move on to 4 copies of our PG and Paladinium. Zero Dragon, grade 1 boost, 0 6k base, continues sentinel. We have 4 sentinels in deck on playing guards, choose 1 units, it cannot be hit in battle. And if your hand has 2 or more cards in it, choose a card from his hand and discard it, standard PG. Nothing to specify. It basically means if this and only one of the cards in your hand is placed on guard circle, you don't have to card was great, because that means you can be as aggressive as you want in the early game. Don't use this. Use this one, especially if you're me and you forget to use her skill. And then when your opponent counterattacks you, throw this down, and then you're safe. Yeah, there's not much more I can say about that, because typically in this deck, like, it alters with how I play it, where I'll either, like, go down to low hand cards very quickly, or I will stockpile the hell out of my hand. It really just depends. Do I open with triggers, or do I not open with triggers? Because typically when I open with triggers, I just keep drawing more triggers for some reason, but then when I don't open with triggers, I don't draw them until I get to grade 3. Like, but I also don't drive check or damage check them either, so that's like a 50-50 bet. But, more of Zero, though, all around, very solid PG. Is nice to have. It nullifies attacks. You can run any of the PGs, like this, Aegis Mire, or the new one that comes out in DZ set 1 Fated Clash. But I choose to run Paladinium Zero because it came out closer to the time of Solrairon's release, so 4 of. Then move on to our last grade 1 in the deck, 1 of in the main deck, sorry, 1 of in the right deck, 3 of in the main deck, and that is Sage of Elixir Elrond. So grade 1 boost, 5 Kashion, AK base, auto when wrote upon by Sage of Robust Storagon. You declare either normal or trigger unit and reveal the top card of your deck. If you revealed a card type, if the reveal card is the card type you declared, you may put it to your hand. hand, and if not, put that revealed card into your soul, or put it on top. To be more exact, if you did not put the card into your hand, you do the soul and or top deck, which means even if you call it right, like say for example you said it was a trigger, and the top card is a trigger, you do not have to add it to the hand because it's a main fate, it's a May clause. So instead what you can do is you can just keep it on top, or if you really want to soul charge it, you can just soul charge it, which is just great because it gives you the option where if you get it right, you do any of the three, and if you get it wrong, you still get to soul charge or top deck stack, you just don't get to add it to hand, which is why half the time I just say normal unit, because if it's a trigger unit, it's going to top, and if it's a normal unit, well, it's going to hand. So Solrairon's good for that reason alone. And then auto, when placed on the rear guard circle, again, during battle phase, main phase, from wherever, if you have a Vanguard Solrairon in his card name, to one normal unit from your hand, reveal it. If you reveal a card, draw a card, and put the revealed card at the top of the deck. So that's like the shared clause with a handful of Solrairon support cards, where they all just reveal a hand card that's normal unit, put it to top after drawing a card. So therefore, you can consistently say Solrairon's effect, oh, it's a normal unit, flip it, and then you have a call target for Solrairon's ability. All around, Solrairon is a very solid, good grade 1, has an amazing deck stack and on-road upon ability, and has a really free and nice to use on rearguard ability. So 3 of in the main deck, 1 of in the right deck. We move on to our grade 2s. This is the card you scrap for the energy supporter that I was talking about earlier. That energy supporter being the cycle card from Fated Clash, where you ditch it in a counter boss 1 or energy boss with your draw card. Anyways, and that is Academic of Demonstration Pyric. So grade 2 and set 5k shield, 10k base. Auto rearguard when your normal unit is revealed by the Vanguard ability with Solrairon in his card name. Until end of turn, this unit gets boost and 5k power. I remember, I think it was the match between this and Gandiva, where someone says, why am I running this? The reason why I run this is because Pyric actually saved me in one game. And again, when I don't know how to use the deck, I can take anything I can get. And well, Pyric, I needed a trigger specifically and I banked it all on a trigger to win. And I flipped a trigger for Solrairon's effect, or I guessed trigger for Solrairon's effect. It was a normal unit, so I didn't get the power to board. But Pyric got the 5k, and that was the important part, because then when I started swinging, I then began to realize all I needed really was just 5k on anyone, and well, it worked out. So yeah, Pyric is a good grade 2, and I owe him my victory. Also, he had boost, which also was really helpful in that situation. So 2 of him, he's just nice. Even if you call the ability of Solrairon wrong, as long as you flip a normal in general, boost and 5k is just good. So 2 of him, again, there are better options, but I owe him a victory, so he deserves to stay for that reason alone. Then we have 4 copies of Academic of Anatomization Lectures. Grade 2 is a 5k shield, 10k base, auto rear guard, and about to attack. If a normal unit was revealed by the ability of a Vanguard Solrairon on his card name, put a soul counter charge 1 of his units placed on rear guard from deck. This turn you may draw a card as well. Solrairon pretty solid, is not a mandatory draw, so if you're afraid of decking out, you don't have to use it, but the fact that it can go to soul and counter charge is great, because this was my immediate replacement for 2-round, who I was running the entire time to make sure I didn't over CB and over soul charge, or over counterblast, because now it's just I don't have to have 3 face down CB. I just have to have revealed a normal unit for Solrairon's ability that turn. So show up to soul, countercharge, and free draw possibly. All around lectures are pretty solid. Good grade 2, helps get soul, help get CC, possibly get hand cards, easy to pull off, 4 of. Then we have 4 copies of Sagely Dragon, Wisdom Claw Dragon. So I keep saying that I don't know how to play the deck, and I can already see the comments rolling in that I should just learn how to play the deck. But ignoring that part, this card specifically is the main reason why I say that, because the interaction that I always try to pull off, I mess up because of him. And that is Sagely Dragon, Wisdom Claw Dragon. Like, I straight up promise you that before this card was revealed, so all the way back before we got this card, I was confident in my abilities to play the deck. Maybe making a misplay here and there, but still confident in my abilities to the deck. The second this thing gets released, I know what it wants to do. I just don't use it properly. So anyways, great turn, 5k shield, 10k base. Auto and placed on rear guard from the deck. I guess with 5,000 power for the turn, which is pretty solid because you can stack it to the top of the deck via Elrond and this thing. And then his other skills, auto and placed on rear guard circle. If you have a Vanguard Solrairon in its card name, look at the top card of your deck, put it to top or bottom. Then by counter boss, you want to reveal the top card of your deck. You may call it an open rear guard circle if it's a unit. And if you do not call, put it to soul. So how I mess up with it is I will swing with my rear guards that retire themselves and either completely forget to retire themselves, or not necessarily retire, but remove themselves from the board, and I'll either completely forget to remove them from the board, therefore making him not usable, or to be more exact, I will not attack with them, and I will instead attack with Wisdom Claw. And because my original thought process with Solrairon before we got him was we can only get 4 attacks, therefore only swing with 1 column, swing with Solrairon, and then call over that column. Now Wisdom Claw requires me to swing with that other rear guard too, get rid of it either by retiring it or sending it to soul, and then put a Wisdom Claw at the top, swing with this, call Wisdom Claw over the one that didn't get retired or removed from the rear guard, and then use his skill to call that one to the open rear guard circle. It's just that simple interaction that I mess up on so much, and the worst part is I'm a gold player, and I do that like interaction so well in golds, but I do not do that interaction well in Solrairon. I don't know why it's that one moment where I fuck up at, but whatever. Either way though, being able to call rear guard is great. Being able to get extra 5k is also great. It's just I cannot use this thing properly to save my life for whatever reason that is. Thankfully, F-all exists and F's off Wisdom Claw. Anyways, 4 good. It's a good grade too, and it allows for more multi-attack options in the deck. I just for some reason can't use it properly. The day I use Wisdom Claw properly is the day I become a better Solrairon player. But we'll see how far we go with that statement. Either way, 4 of Wisdom Claw. Then move on to the last grade 2 in the deck. 1 of in the main deck. 1 of in the ride deck. 3 of in the main deck. I don't know why I keep messing that up. And that is Sage of Robust Storagon. Grade 2 is 5k shield, 10k base. Auto win is Rotopalm by Unit Solrairon on its card name. Choose a Sage of Elixir Elrond from your soul and call both this card and that card to rearguard circle. So it will proc off Elrond's skill, which is great. And then auto rearguard, when a normal is revealed by the ability of your Vanguard Solrairon on its card name, this unit gets auto rearguard if attacked. Retire this unit, counter charge 1 ton of turn. There will come games where you are not able to stack the top card of the deck via Solrairon. It has not been this deck yet that has happened to, but in the previous versions, it has happened to. And those games, half the time I say half the time I say trigger, half the time I say normal unit, because I don't know which one to pick. After a certain point, I began to realize, just say trigger, because the thing is, even if you flip a normal unit, you don't get the 5k from Solrairon, but everyone else activates because all of them just require you to flip a normal unit and not call it. Like, it doesn't matter if you guessed it right or wrong, as long as you flipped a normal unit. So even if you don't think it's going to be a trigger, just say trigger, unless you are 100% confident it's a normal unit, because even if you're wrong, everyone's effect still goes off. So, yeah, either way, it's a free counter charge. It retires itself, so it procs with Wisdom Claw. It also, makes Wisdom Claw free, and it also works with F-all. And again, it gets 5 attacks very consistently. I just have to remember to swing with the other rear guard. 4 of Storagon. Very good grade 2. It's nice to have. 3 in the main deck for counter charge fodder, 1 in the ride deck. Then move on to our grade 3s. Run 4 copies of Dependable Pierce Dragon, grade 3, 10 press 13k base. Auto when placed on the rear guard circle. If you have a Vanguard or Solrairon on its card name, choose normal unit from your hand, reveal it. If you revealed a card, draw a card, and put that revealed card on top of the deck. All around, pretty solid. You don't have to reveal something if you do not want to, but if you do want to, it's a nice way to exchange hand cards. Half the time I draw specifically a crit off his skill. It doesn't do that when I play Elrond, but for some reason, when I play Dragon, it just flips me a crit. It's like worse arcs, because at least arcs keeps me alive. And then his other skills, auto rearguard once per turn. When your normal unit is revealed by the ability of Vanguard or Solrairon, oh, look at that, the thing I've been preaching about the entire time. This unit gets auto rearguard when this unit attacks. You may have this unit get up to 5,000 power for that battle, and if you do, put this unit to solve at the end of that battle until end of turn. All around, pretty solid. It can help increase power of its own. It's not a mandatory power increase if you don't want to use it, but it also sends stuff to soul, so you get more resources for Solrairon soul blasting. And not to mention the fact, too, it opens up rearguard circles. Again, combo with Wisdom Claw if I just remember to swing with the other column first. Either way, good card nonetheless. 4 of, nice to have. And move on to our last card in the deck, 3 in the main deck, 1 in the ride deck of Great Sage of Heavenly Law, Solrairon. The simplest card in this deck to play outside of F-all. Maybe that's why I can't, use Wisdom Claw properly. Because F-all is literally, what I'm used to with golds, where I play a unit and then it immediately calls. But then for Wisdom Claw, I have to play a card that stacks it to the top, and then I have to also call it, and then remember every other card skill to open up the rearguard circles. Maybe that's why I can't use it properly, because it's that one extra step that screws me over. Also, I remember something real quickly. I think it was in that Gandiva match where I was literally banking on the fact that I was going to see Wisdom Claw, even though that was one of the games where I did not have the ability to check the top card. So I just had to be confident that it was Wisdom Claw, and for some reason I went against that logic and didn't swing with my entire board, and the next card was Wisdom Claw. I was so mad at myself because I had actually predicted it, and I would have won if I had just been confident in Wisdom Claw. And the worst part is my board was set up to do it and do it properly for the first time, and all I had to do was be confident, and I wasn't. I blame Wisdom Claw for all my problems because he's the reason why I'm not confident in my abilities to play this deck. Anyways, Solrairon, auto Vanguard, at the beginning of your battle phase, Soul Blast 1, declare either a normal unit or a trigger unit. reveal the top card of your deck, and if you reveal the card of the type you declared, this unit gets continuous Vanguard, or you can 5,000 power for that turn. That Gandiva game I misplayed because I thought it only gave it to the front row, but being able to give a 5k to the entire board, regardless if your opponent's at grade 2 or grade 3, all by just guessing the top card, where like half your deck in top deck stack, and considering the turn you ride this, you have Elrond to basically guarantee your deck stack. Yeah, free 5k is pretty solid. And then Auto Vanguard, when it attacks into a Vanguard by counterblasting one, look at top 2 cards of your deck, choose a card from among them, call it to rear guard, discard it, put it, and then put the other to top or bottom. So the best part about this deck is it gets 5 attacks the second you get to grade 3. It doesn't matter what grade your opponent's at, you will always have those 5 attacks. Regardless if you use F-All to do it, or you use the Wisdom Claw combined with anything else combo, like straight up, this deck can get 5 attacks very easily, and all of them will get extra 5k on it. All around, Solrairon's a very good grade 3, and he's simplistic to use. It's just like the one interaction with Wisdom Claw, and I am so like dead focused on trying to pull off Wisdom Claw that I forget everything else. Like, the day I succeed in Wisdom Claw and stop focusing on it is the day I actually can play Solrairon competently, because as of now, I only want to pull off Wisdom Claw just to prove the fact I can actually use Wisdom Claw. But anyways, free 5k, nice to have, extra rearguard call, and it doesn't have to call to an open rearguard circle, so it's a little less complications. It's just a nice card, and again, you can get this declaration wrong, because even though you won't get the 5k out of it, everyone else goes off as long as you flip a normal. So pretty much what I'm saying is, unless you can guarantee it's a normal, just say it's a trigger. You'll get you'll get the benefits out of it anyways, especially if any of these are on board. So 3 in the main deck, 1 in the ride deck, nice card to have. Without further ado, that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, the deck is actually competent. I've seen people that play Solrairon knowing how to play it actually use it well. It's just I cannot use it well. To be more exact, I cannot use it when I am trying to use Wisdom Claw, which is 24/7. The day I learn how to use Wisdom Claw properly, even just once, is the day that this deck immediately becomes 10 times better, because I will stop trying to proc it off and therefore let it happen naturally. So all I need to do is swing with the other column, properly deck stack it, and then see what happens. The day I pulled off, we're having a celebration. So without further ado, I was going to hear. I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, the deck is fun. It gets a lot of resources. It gets power. It gets multi-attack. That's all I have to say about it. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and Twitch, and I'll see you all next one. Don't forget to set up your Vanguards.